Welcome back to your Emotional Support Wrestling podcast with Madge and Emmy. I'm your host, Emmy, and this is my co-host, Madge.
Howdy.
Sometimes you need emotional support for your emotional support combat sport, and that's where we've got you covered. All right, so today is November 14th, 2023, so we have a Dynamite scheduled for tomorrow. So we have a couple of topics to discuss today, but Madge, any thoughts on what's been happening lately since our last pod?
Mostly just the fact that I am utterly confused with how out of character Kenny Omega has been being. I'm excited to see Full Gear live, and I hope, for the love of God, I don't have to go 0-3 with Hangman at the show that I'm at. Please pull one out. Please win.
Yeah, we haven't been very lucky when Madge goes to the show when it comes to being Hangman fans. I don't know what I want, to be honest. I mean, I know what I didn't want was that I didn't want a Texas Deathmatch in California again with me not there to see it live.
I
So
gotta say, man, the euphoria of getting to see a Texas Deathmatch with Hangman in it far outweighs the just utter confusion in why is a Texas Deathmatch happening anywhere but Texas. But we did the
again,
math, and only one Texas Deathmatch in AEW's history has been in Texas at all. So,
I know, but it's, you know what? We'll get to it. We'll get to it when I start talking about the Texas Deathmatch promos, because Hangman does mention it in a very specific way that I think is why it will be forever rooted in my brain that Texas Deathmatches should be in Texas. So let's just say we'll get to it.
mhm.
But yeah. Um, so I guess without further ado, let's discuss what's happened so far on TV with the Elite, specifically because we've decided that we're just not gonna pretend anymore to care about anything
We're
else
not
right
gonna
now.
front. Yeah,
No,
we're not gonna front.
we're in like full, well, at least me. I'm in like full AEW seasonal depression mode right now, and the only thing that I can like even remotely pay attention to is what's happening with Hangman and, you know, a little bit of Kenny and the Bucks. So, yeah, we're just gonna start with that right now. Okay? Okay. All right. So, let's see. We start with the day after we recorded the last pod. Swerve Strickland invaded Hangman's home. He threw a shirt into Hangman Jr.'s crib, and he told the little guy that he owes him. So I'm assuming it means for letting him live through this encounter. I don't know. I don't know. But he said he owes him.
I think it's safe to say that that's what Swerve meant because he has famously been beefing with children for a long time.
Yeah,
So it's not out of the realm of possibility for him to have beef with a 2-year-old.
exactly. So we had Hangman throughout this video call, I guess that Swerve was doing, visibly upset and afraid. And the moment that he realized that Swerve was in his house, he ran out of the ring, started running to the back. The Bucks, like, they looked like they were going to go after him, but he kind of just like basically waved them off and was like, no, like, stay here, and he kept going toward the back. So this was after their ROH tag match. I believe it was against the Hardys, right? The Hardys and
No.
Isaiah Cassidy?
No. So this was actually it was during their tag match with the Righteous because not the Righteous, with the Gates of Agony. because they then lost the titles because it was just Matt and Nick left in the
No,
match.
no. You're getting confused. That was a second match. It was the Bucks and Isaiah Cassidy first.
Oh, you
Their
are
first.
right.
Yeah.
Because he then did that. We're getting ahead of ourselves. We'll come back to that. We'll round back.
Yeah. So this was after that tag match against the Hardys and Isaiah Cassidy. And all most people could think was, what the fuck does he think he's gonna do? Just run all the way back to North Carolina? I'm assuming what he wanted to do was call his wife and check to see what's going on, see if she's okay, see if the baby's okay. Because at that point, I mean, that's all you can really do, right?
Essentially. Yeah. Although I didn't exactly put it past him to try running all the way to North Carolina.
Yeah. If he's that fired up, I feel like he might. Or at the very least, try and book the first flight out to North Carolina immediately. Um,
Yeah.
so then after that, um, no reaction from him on Rampage or Collision for the rest of the week. And then a few days before the next Dynamite, Prince Nana puts out a challenge to the Hung Bucks for a rematch shot at the ROH Trios titles. That's what you were talking about.
Yes.
So when we see Hangman and the Bucks for the first time since Swerve was in Hangman's house, is for this Trios tag match. So no backstage segment, no Bucks trying to keep Hangman sane, convincing him to do the match. Nothing. I don't know what why they didn't do anything. Like I don't understand why Hangman would just agree to a trios match like it's nothing with the people that Swerve is allied himself with that are part of his group, part of his faction. I don't understand. Do you?
I can understand why he would want to do the match. I can't quite understand why they didn't do any, like, character work. Like, there was no Hangman being visibly upset. There was no Hangman going a little off the rails with the match, being a little more brutal because they work for Swerve. Um, it just kind of felt it was a very straightforward match, which shouldn't have necessarily been the case because there should have been a little more character work there. But then this is the match where Swerve then comes out.
Mhm.
Uh, he comes out onto the ramp, and Hangman completely abandons the match altogether, tunnel visions for Swerve, and just runs to the back because once uh once Swerve notices that Hangman is mobile and he's about to start charging for him, he runs into the back.
Yeah.
Like, just cuts and runs immediately. Um, and then it cuts to a backstage segment where, it cuts to a backstage segment where Hangman is being physically restrained from hurting Swerve,
Mhm.
and then it cuts back to the rest of the match where the Young Bucks then lose the trios tag titles for ROH, because it was just them in the match. And then what I appreciated, which we didn't get for the rest of the match from Hangman up until Swerve showed his face, was the fact that the Bucks were visibly very upset. Mostly Matt Jackson, because it's always Matt Jackson.
Right.
So Matt is like he's got an angry face on. He's kind of sitting there sulking for a little bit before he gets up, grabs a chair, just starts hitting whatever he can get his hands on, and then they storm off to the back. And I appreciate both Hangman not taking a single second to think. The second he sees Swerve, he's on him. And I appreciate that the Bucks didn't stop Hangman because they understand, but they're still upset.
Mhm.
So they haven't taken any of this out on Hangman, which I like because we know in the past they definitely would have.
Yeah. There definitely would have been this whole like, why did you leave or why weren't you here? Like when they got attacked by the inner circle in one of those first episodes of Dynamite, and
Yep.
later on in BTE they were like, why weren't you there? And Hangman was like, I was literally taking care of Jake Hager in the back. Like, what do you want from me? But anyway, I digress. We're not there anymore.
Yeah, that was honestly exactly what I was talking about, is they like, the "why didn't you help us" thing.
Yeah.
Um, it's growth.
Mhm.
Comes in weird places, but it comes anyway.
Yeah. Not naturally. I know you were going to say not naturally
Yeah,
because
it's not natural.
Matt is still very upset by the fact that he left, but it's like he knows that if he were to say something, it would be selfish to say so, you know?
Yes.
And he's trying not to be like that anymore. At least not towards Hangman because of everything that they've been through.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
appreciate that, Matthew.
So do I, as a notorious Matt hater.
He's got you now.
Yeah. So, the next scene, right, is hey, okay, so we see Hangman, da da da. Then later on, I believe in the same Dynamite, we see the Bucks go up to Kenny and Chris Jericho, who I believe are cutting a promo, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember what happens here exactly? Because I kind of summarized it, but I'm not entirely sure how it went.
So it was basically yeah, so the Bucks were already in the locker room because their match had already concluded. They were kinda, like, pacing back and forth in the background while Chris Jericho was cutting a promo. Kenny was just there. And
Mm,
Kenny has had this thing about him where he's there, but no, he's not. Like, whenever Jericho is speaking, and it's always Jericho who's speaking, Kenny is nowhere near mentally present. He's staring off into space. He's just kind of standing there. He doesn't nod or acknowledge anything that's said.
she's just full on dissociating.
He's disassociating, yes. So he's doing that. And then whatever the fuck Jericho was saying, who gives a fuck? Um, Matt pipes up from the background and he's like, "You know, Kenny, when we got back together, I thought that meant we would have each other's backs. Why are you rolling with Chris Jericho, of all people? Do you not remember what he did to our father, what he did to you?" And Kenny, once again, is still disassociating. He doesn't say anything or defend himself or anything like that. He just kind of like, he's just like, "Oh, you know, enemy of my enemy type of thing, you know how it is." And the Bucks are not having it because they shouldn't.
Mhm.
Um, and Chris Jericho pipes up. He's being a heel to the Bucks. He's like, I don't remember what I'm not paying attention to Chris Jericho when it comes to these
Right.
people. Of all the people in the room right now, I care about Chris Jericho the least.
Of course.
So why is he speaking the most?
Right.
And so,
So,
yeah, he's talking to the Bucks. He's like insulting them, whatever. Kenny is still disassociating. And then the Bucks just kind of
I think they leave, don't they?
yeah, they leave. They leave Kenny with something parting that's like cutting towards him, and then they just walk away. But it's like literally everything I've been thinking since like
They said it.
September. Like finally someone's speaking up. Why the fuck is Chris Jericho here? Why is he here? What are you doing? Kenny Omega, what are you doing? So that's been my thought this entire time is Kenny Omega is so out of character and it's like he doesn't care about this anymore. Like he doesn't care about this storyline. I don't care about the storyline either, but that just means you end it and go a different direction,
Mhm.
not keep it going for however why are you going along with what Chris Jericho wants? When was the last time you just went along with what someone else wanted?
Okay. I'm glad you asked that question because ever since you started explaining the what the Bucks said to Kenny and Chris just now during this segment, something clicked in my head that I hadn't thought about, and because I keep trying to think of reasons why this is happening, right? And I want to understand it, and I want to understand Kenny's side of it, even though I've naturally just been apathetic toward him for most of ever, or when he was the heel against Hangman, I was obviously very hateful towards him. But for the most part, it's he gives me nothing. That's how I've always felt when it comes to him, at least as a babyface. So something you said clicked. You said that he just kind of sort of went along and that the enemy of my enemy is my friend type of thing. this isn't the first time he's done that this year. So the last time that we saw Kenny and Hangman in the ring together before they reunited, okay, they were obviously very aggrieved with each other. Like the whole crowd popped, everybody felt it. The tension was insane. Okay? And that was All Out 2022, right? And it was right before the big, the shit that went down, the shitstorm. So from then to when the Elite backed Hangman up in the BCC thing, they never really got closure, right? And they kind of just let it become this thing where it's like, well, I mean, they obviously care about you, and you remember the thing that Kenny said about how he kind of felt relieved that he wasn't the champ anymore, and you think like, okay, he's just gonna let it go. And that's what we thought, right? And I believe there was a BTE where he kind of goes over it a little bit more and says something along those lines. But that is one of those instances where he's just decided, well, fine, I'm just going to let it go because we have a bigger enemy in the BCC. And now I think maybe he's doing that exact same thing, but with the Don Callis family. Does that make sense?
It does, and I would agree with you. However, Kenny was the first person in the ring to back up Hangman. So it wasn't necessarily he was just going along with what the Bucks wanted to do with Hangman. He still had the initiative in him to want to help Hangman. He still had, like, when they got back together, like the actual night that they did,
Mm-hmm.
it was his choice to hand Hangman the broomstick. And in the BTE bit, he apologizes. So he had it in him to want to be with Hangman. The Bucks just had to push him towards that.
Whereas here, maybe he kind of just has the initiative to help Jericho because of the Don Callis family, but the Bucks aren't on his side for this, though. I think is the difference, or is one of the differences at least. Right?
That's fair. I'm trying to remember if they've had no, it's pretty much been because it started as Kenny versus Takeshita,
Right.
and it was singles matches with Kenny versus Takeshita.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like team matches with the Bucks and Hangman taking on the rest of the Callis family. But then once it all spiraled out of control and Jericho joined, it was less so of the Bucks and Hangman.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been like it was like it started with Kenny just kind of being like, I can do this alone. This is my type of thing. Kind of like when Hangman was just going up against Hangman was in singles matches, but still with the Elite. It's like they can do this by themselves. And when it's in a tag team environment, that's when they bring in the Elite. But it's been tag team environment, and he's brought in Jericho instead. And it's just been so odd. And it's like it wasn't his choice necessarily, which is why he doesn't seem enthused by anything.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I
Me
was trying
neither.
I was trying to make sense of something that clearly doesn't make sense.
The thing about me is, you won't catch me raising a bad word to Kenny Omega or his storylines, because they don't give me any reason to, and I trust what he wants to tell. This doesn't feel like anything he has ever wanted to tell ever in his life. He doesn't seem like he wants to be there. Of course, he wrestles all the same because he's the greatest. He can't really turn off having great matches. So that seems to tide people over. But I can't stand all of these people being added to what was clearly meant to be a one-on-one, which is what Kenny wanted,
Mm-hmm.
because he had Takeshita go over on him so many times. Like, obviously, this was supposed to just be Takeshita versus Kenny, and then Takeshita versus a tag partner when Ibushi was involved. Also, can we talk never mind, we'll get to that later, we'll get to that later. Um, Getting ahead of
Wait, what
myself.
what was it so that I don't forget?
The Sega 8-man tag where they have Ibushi and Jericho and
Okay,
Paul
okay,
White.
okay. Okay, I got you. I got you. We'll get there.
We will get
Okay.
there.
So, um back to Hangman. The next
Yep.
thing that we see that has anything remotely to do with Hangman is Alex Abrahantes cutting a promo on Swerve on Collision, telling him that Penta did not like what he did to Hangman Page and his family because Penta is a family man, so he will challenge Swerve the next week on Dynamite. So,
Sure, because that
cue,
makes sense.
right. So cue the next Dynamite. I'm just going to add some of my own lore to this and say that Alex Abrahantes sees Hangman as an honorary Latino, just like I do. And so does Penta and the whole Latino luchador family, especially after he did that 619 the other day. And so I just feel like he's just part of La Familia. Like, that's just what it is. That's why he did it. So, anyway, cue the next Dynamite, Swerve versus Penta. So, for some godforsaken reason, Hangman is banned from ringside. Okay? Swerve wins the match, starts to unmask Penta, but before he has the chance, Hangman shows up, chases him out of the ring, puts a chair in Swerve's back. Security comes out, Hangman don't care. He puts chairs in their stomachs. Aubrey comes out, begging him to stop. Hangman grabs Swerve, dead eyes him through a table next to the ramp. Then he grabs Swerve by the face and starts yelling, "You're a dead man. You're a dead man. You are a dead man." And then he starts to whisper it, like panting, as he's being pulled off of Swerve by a bunch of people. And then he just stalks away like wild-eyed. Thoughts?
First and foremost, hot, sexy, amazing, beautiful. Um, Second of all, I feel like we could have had 3 more segments like that. In the meantime, before we got to this one, I think there should have been more confrontations between Swerve and Hangman in between the attack in the back to the attack after that match. I do know why they said Hangman would be banned from ringside. It was because of the fighting in the back. It's kind of like them like adding in like backstage authority, like how like people get like suspended in kayfabe. Um, but it's like there was so much dead air in between the initial attack and the banning from ringside that it almost didn't make any sense.
Or that it makes sense now. Banning him from ringside when everybody and their mom saw Swerve put up a video in the middle of live television showing everybody, even the people in the back, even those who we would call officials, that he invaded another coworker's home while he was not there.
Yeah, that's wrestling logic for you.
I'm sorry, but banning Hangman from ringside makes no fucking sense. I don't care what. I don't care. It. I. No. It makes sense for what you want to do next, which was what they wanted was for Hangman to immediately show up after the match and beat Swerve's ass.
Yeah,
But using that as
that's
a
pretty
plot
much it.
device to get him to wait until the match is over seems fucking stupid because Hangman shouldn't be waiting till the match is over to get his hands on this motherfucker. He
Yeah,
shouldn't. I don't
yeah, there should have
understand.
been so much in between this happening to make that make sense. You're right, it was used as a plot device and it worked for what they wanted to set up, but it doesn't work for what they had already done.
Yeah. Which is a man invaded another man's home and threatened his child while his wife was sleeping in another room.
Oh, she was asleep? I thought she was, like, out of the house.
You think a
I just
baby
said
would
something
be
stupid.
as okay.
I don't listen to me. I I am the least maternal person you have ever met in your entire life. The least. I don't know how taking care of children works. So, until you just said that sentence, hadn't crossed my mind. I'm like, "They're in their crib, they'll be fine." I'd kill a child on accident. I shouldn't be a mom. I'm never gonna be a mom, but I definitely shouldn't.
Yeah. So when you're trying to like push the, you know, the emotions and ha- the severity of an act, such as a man invading another man's home and threatening his child, there should be no waiting.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like th- this is going to sound like the most patriotic bullshit I've ever said. But in America,
Oh my god.
people take their families very seriously, okay? You're not, a man is not just gonna let that happen to his family like that and him not immediately fucking do something about it. Okay? That's
Especially not a
not,
cowboy.
not, especially not a cowboy from the Appalachians. Come on. That's not, no, no, no. I'm sorry that by having by waiting a full week for something to even happen between them, it's like you're basically undercutting what happened. You're selling it short. You're making it not be a big deal when it was definitely a big deal when it happened. Like, it was very clearly a big deal. Everybody was expecting something from Hangman after that. And you pass Rampage, you pass Collision, and then you make the man wait until after a trios tag match to come after him, or in between, like at the end of a tag match. Come on, what are you doing? You are making him look a fool. He looks like a bitch. I'm just gonna say it. They made Hangman look like a bitch. And I don't like that. I don't like that they made him look like a bitch because he's not one. He's never been. Every single time that somebody has done something to upset him, the reactions are immediate. He doesn't wait. He's never waited. The moment that Mox tried to make light of the fact that Hangman got a concussion and tried to make a joke that that he was going to let it happen again or that he would do it again, okay? Hangman immediately fucking lunged. It was an immediate fucking wallop to the head. Like, he doesn't wait when that happens. Why would he wait until after a match? That man should have been stalking, furious, looking for that motherfucker at Rampage and at Collision. I'm sorry, but he
Honestly,
should have.
the next thing that should have happened was a second home invasion. 'Cause I have what is the word? God damn it, what is the word? I, like I have it in my head that if this was, like, truly something that would happen to Hangman, is if he was separated from Swerve in the building, he would have gone to his hotel, he would have gone to Swerve's home himself, he would have gone to Swerve's favorite restaurant, he would have gone to Swerve's studio, he would have done literally anything to get his hands on Swerve.
Say that shit.
And that would have been, like that would have to be filmed within the next day. Like,
Literally.
there is so much that should have happened between the initial attack and then, like, the final one.
You
Like,
know what? If they didn't have the time to put it on the other 3 hours of television that they had for the rest of the week, put that shit on Twitter. I don't put that shit on YouTube. I don't know. Like,
yeah,
wouldn't it be scarier if all of a sudden they just fucking post a video of Hangman like coming into Swerve's private space and be like, "Guess what, motherfucker? Here I am." Like, surprise, bitch. Like, would that not Tony Khan, give me the book. Give us the book. Stop this.
I would
You're
like
ruining
to
him.
yeah, I would like to say something that I have noticed happen for the last couple of years,
Go ahead.
and it is that AEW's booking starts off really, really strong, like January to say, we'll say April. It starts to get iffy from April to September, and then it starts to get awful for the rest of the year. It was like that with, like, 2022 especially, and it's been like that this year. It's been like just a steady like, they have a hard reset, it's great, it's good, then they just decline, decline, decline with whatever, like, booking strategy Tony uses. And Tony is not usually this bad.
I can't agree with that pattern just because I'm remembering the other years before that. So it's
No, it
I
hasn't
wouldn't
happened like, before that, it's just been 2022 and 2023. Like, that's just a
okay.
pattern I've noticed for the last couple years.
Okay.
Because 2021 and 2020 I can't speak on 2020 because I wasn't watching weekly then, but 2021 has been their strongest year aside from the first year.
Mhm. Right. Um but what were you going to say about Tony's booking? Like
It's not usually this bad. Like, it's been bad. He had a really bad Dynamite. I It's like the episodes write themselves almost, and he's, like, erasing it and putting in something worse.
yeah, I'm going to try to phrase this almost exactly the way I heard Jules say it on the Outside Dive cast. She said something that made perfect sense to me. Maybe she didn't say it on the podcast, but she maybe said it on Twitter. I can't remember. It was one of the two. But she said that it's like he's giving me what I want, and then the way he gives it to me is like he's punching me in the face.
I can understand that.
Because it felt like after All Out and after Wrestle Dream, it felt like we were headed into a direction, right? A direction that kind of made sense, that we were patiently anticipating, right? And
Mhm.
then all of a sudden, with every week that goes by, it's like, wait, what? Wait, what? What, huh? And it's just like the steps that he takes to get to certain places, I'm like, what is going on in your head? What could possibly make you think that the way that you're setting this up makes any sense? I just, I don't know. I was so happy after All Out. I was so happy. And now I'm just depressed.
It's like, have you seen that meme where it's the lines of Going in a Heartbeat, the up and down, and it's like, "We're so back" to "It's so over"? That's been
It's just,
us every
it's
single
a
week.
roller coaster. It's just,
It's just a cycle of "We're so back" to "It's so over," and it's like, there's no signs of that stopping, like, there's no signs of getting off, and it's like, "Bro, please. Please just do something with consistency."
yeah, you see the matchups that he puts out every week, like a day before the fucking shows, and you're like, okay, this is good, right? And then you watch it and it's like, why did this happen? Why did you do
Yeah.
this? Why? The end results, whatever story you drove through this match to get to a different point, what's going on? Why is this execution miserably? The matches are great, right?
Matches are fantastic.
The wrestlers are doing an excellent job when it comes to the actual matches. They're putting on shows, they're doing amazing. But everything surrounding them is just I don't know. I don't
I hope
understand.
we I hope we get another hard reset in 2024, and then we stop the pattern of starting off great and ending terribly. Because I would like it to even if it's just good all year, I will take it. Because I can't take the excellent to awful.
The way the past two dynamites have gone, it's like the entire internet was in an uproar 2 weeks ago, and then last week everybody's like, "Oh, okay, this is fine. We're back," and I'm like, "What?"
Whiplash.
It's like for me, yeah, the Dynamite from last week was a better show than the one the week before, but it's like we're just we need to level this out. We need to level this out because I can't take this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. However, there's like with when it comes to the internet, there's always where it's going to be no matter what AEW does, that was a bad Dynamite, or there's always something to complain about. I feel this time around there's there's like not necessarily healthy, but there's like a good dichotomy of okay, this was good, but this wasn't good. This was bad. Okay, but this was good. Okay, but this was bad. I don't think there should be like complaining the entire Dynamite, but there are
No.
definitely points in the Dynamites where it's like this is getting bad.
Yeah, I think what happened with the show 2 weeks ago is that it started with Orange Cassidy versus Claudio Castagnoli, and then which was obviously high caliber shit, and then it just
Middle class.
immediately dropped like a fucking cliff for everybody who was watching, except for me because I didn't even get to watch Orange versus Claudio because I got home late, and so I didn't even get to see the good part. So to me, I was just like, looks around. Um, so everything's on fire, but I don't know why. This
Yeah.
seems fine, I guess. But
Yeah. Speaking of
hmm.
bad Dynamites, I would like to talk about that eight-man tag now.
What 8-man tag? Oh, well, we still haven't gotten through the last bit of recap that will lead to Jericho and Kenny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, you asked me to recap what happened in
Hmm.
that promo. I tried to watch it again. I couldn't get past 30 seconds because
Oh
'cause I'm like,
no.
it's that bad. I'm like, I don't need to watch the most out of character thing I've ever seen in my life again when I've already seen it. I'm like, I know what happens. I'm not going to torture myself with that. But I will recap what happens.
Okay.
So it's once again Kenny Omega, unfortunately this time with a shirt on. Um,
Damn.
so he's disassociating and staring at the ceiling while Chris Jericho runs his mouth off. And the Bucks come through and they're like, "That's a cute little nickname you guys got for yourselves, the Golden Jets." And so first and foremost, nothing is golden if Kota Ibushi is not involved. Chris Jericho, you dumb sack of shit.
I can't believe it says Kota Ibushi and the Golden Jets.
Chris Jericho, I'm going to kill you.
Fuck my fucking life. Are you stupid?
Kenny Omega, I'm going to kill you. Because you're sitting there and letting that happen. Do you even give half of a fuck about the Golden Lovers at all?
Go girl, give us nothing.
My
Jesus
fucking hands
Christ.
were any bigger, they'd be around that fucking neck of yours. Yeah, so it ends with the Bucks challenging Kenny and Jericho to a tag match at Full Gear. Uh, if the Bucks win, Jericho and Kenny can't tag anymore. Oh my God, Bucks, please win. Um, and then Kenny just pipes up out of nowhere and he's like, "You're a bitch." And I'm like, he would not fucking say that. He would not fucking say that. Who the fuck is writing this? I know it's nobody, so that's why I'm upset. You thought of that with your own fucking brain? I oughta lobotomize you. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you saying to me?
Oh my god.
This shit has gone on so long, Kenny Omega has lost the fucking plot.
I yeah, to me it was like, who are you calling a bitch? Bitch?
Yeah, pot meat kettle. Pot meat kettle.
Yeah, like you you are both bitchy. You're both bitchy little bitches. What are you talking about? That's why you're friends. That's why you're friends. You're both
That's
mean
why you love each
girls.
other.
You're both mean girls, okay? The fact that you would say that about him, just like Spider-Man and Spider-Man, just pointing at each other. Like, I don't I love it was like everybody's reaction throughout that whole thing was, "Oh my god, Kenny, say something. Kenny, say something. Why are you letting Jericho speak? Kenny, say something." And the moment Kenny starts talking, everybody's like, "No, shut the fuck up, Kenny. Shut the fuck up. What are you saying right now? What are you
Yeah, because
saying?"
there's no narrative reason for him to say that. There's no narrative reason for him to come off that way. So why is he? I know why. It's because they needed to so, basically, we don't talk about them here because they're bitches who no, no, don't say that.
Uh-oh.
Um, so basically, the tag titles are in disarray because of one bald-ass tag team. So the Bucks needed a match to have, and naturally, if they're not going for the tag titles, we're going to do something with Kenny Omega. So they needed to make conflict out of nowhere. So Kenny was literally the only person left who didn't have conflict with somebody in this thing, so they just created it out of nowhere. My issue is the fact that they created it out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It makes no fucking sense. He would not fucking say that.
Yeah. It's literally that Tumblr post. He would not fucking say that.
Yeah, this is a this I'm reading a bad fan fiction.
The
This is out of character,
I love
and they
the
didn't tag it that way.
I love that from I have issues with Hangman because he would not fucking do that. And it's
Yeah,
issues with Kenny and he would not fucking say that.
yeah,
Like we're in our own personal brand of hell right now. Like
yeah, man.
like I just I my brain my brain is just exploding. I can't deal with it.
I wake up every morning and fight the urge to tag Kenny Omega on Twitter or message him on Instagram and say, "Why are you letting this happen?" Because genuinely, why are you letting this happen?
The worst part is he cannot answer you
No, I don't
because
think he
if he
can. I don't think
answers
there's
you
a thought behind those eyes.
Sorry, it's just so funny to me because you love Kenny Omega.
I love him to death, which is why I'm speaking to him this way.
That's why I called Hangman a bitch.
Exactly.
Because I love him
Handshaking
so
emoji.
much. Handshake emoji. It's because they're not making sense. Boys, you're not making sense. But the thing is that I'm not going to put it solely on them the way everybody else on Twitter who hates the elite is going to do or has been doing for the past week or so because I know that there's other things going on here that I cannot see. Okay? There's a Wizard of Oz behind the fucking curtain who is completely fucking shit up.
Literally.
And I just I'm just frustrated.
I'm at my wit's end. Literally, my only saving grace is that I know any match with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks is going to be a great match. If
Mhm.
that's what I will ignore Jericho till the day I die. If that is the match that I get where I finally get to see Kenny Omega live, hopefully, if anything happens to him in between now and then and he gets injured, swear to God, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna fucking kill him. He can't dodge me again. He's not going to dodge me again. What was I saying?
um, you're
Completely
saying
lost my train of thought.
you were saying Kenny Omega was not gonna dodge you again.
Yeah, um, yeah, he's not gonna dodge me again. If that's the match I have to get to see Kenny Omega wrestle live, there are worse matches. There are better, but there are worse. Much
Mhm.
worse.
Mhm. Yeah, and there is some consolation I think in the fact that all of Twitter was telling me that Takeshita versus Chris Jericho was very good this past weekend. So maybe Jericho will bring his A game. Hopefully.
Mm.
Match doesn't seem convinced.
I'm not convinced. That man is in his 50s. You should be retired with your kids. Leave us alone.
So, um, yeah. So next time we see Hangman after the "You're a dead man, you're a dead man, you're a dead man" is on Collision. So a couple of days ago, he gets a very mean promo. Says basically, you know, he starts off with, "Swerve, all you had to do was take my spot, challenge for the world title, but you couldn't do that, could you? You just had to go into my home, mess with my baby. Now what's going to happen is he wants him to." Well, actually, you know what? I'm not even going to go into this. All you need to know is that shit was fucking hot, okay? And then we'll go into it in a second when we start talking about the other Texas Deathmatch promos, okay? But he basically says, at the beginning, he says, "All you had to do is take my spot, and then you could have been the challenger for the world title." And then at the end, he completes it with, "Swerve Strickland, what could have been?" Like, that's what you could have been. You probably could have been world champion by now if you had just left me the fuck alone. That was his whole point. So he challenged to a Texas death match. Um, thoughts?
I think that promo was perfect. So is every Hangman Adam Page promo. But I so okay, first of all, I tried to watch that promo at like 6 a.m., 5 a.m., and I'm like, I have to stop before I get the zoomies, before I just start running around this house. Because it's like, it'll get you hyped. Like,
Oh
I
yeah,
read the transcript for it. I'm like, this is beautiful. This is poetry that he's just spitting. And I'm like, that is the way you challenge a man.
yeah. He knows how to do it. Yeah, very good at it. Um,
Adam Page, greatest of all time.
of course. So that's where we're at. That's where we are. Um, tomorrow there will be the last Dynamite before Full Gear, and then we'll have, I believe, we'll also have Collision and Rampage or something. I don't know.
It's supposed to be like both Collision and Rampage on Friday. I don't plan on being there for that. I will be in LA by then, Inglewood more specifically, but I might get a ticket for it so I can go to the meet and greet and hopefully meet some wrestlers that I like. But I
Hmm.
don't think I'll show.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's where we are. Yeah. So, do you want to say anything about anything else that we've said so far before I start to delve into the wording of Hangman's deathmatch promos since starting from Lance Archer to this last one that we just spoke about?
I do not.
Okay. So, without further ado, we're going to be talking about each of Hangman's deathmatch promos, specifically Texas Deathmatch, obviously, because I feel like it's important to kind of see how they've progressed as promos, see the kind of imagery that he brings up every time he talks about Texas death matches, and just kind of see where he's at in his head when he thinks about them and maybe what he wants us to think about when he talks about them. So, Lance Archer versus Hangman. The actual match happened on February 9th, 2022 in Atlantic City, New Jersey. So it was not in Texas. Um, a week or so before, what had happened was, I believe Dan Lambert had been, I don't know what he was doing, but he was there. He was in the ring, and Lance Archer comes out to basically beat on Dan Lambert because I can't remember what was going on, but they had beef. But
Oh yeah.
Hangman was also in the ring because he was looking for a challenger. And I guess Dan
Yeah.
Lambert had come out and had said, "I have a challenger for you," or something like that, or he was just fucking talking shit.
Yeah. Lance Archer was mad that Dan Lambert spoke for him. So once Lance Archer got out to the ring, he beat his ass. And then Hangman tried to beat Lance Archer's ass.
So no. What happened was, uh, Lance went for Dan Lambert, and Dan Lambert, as he's trying to get out of Lance's chokehold, is telling him, "You got the world champion right here. Like, why don't you do something about it?" Da 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 da. And then it looks like Archer's gonna do something to Lambert, and then he fucking swings for Hangman. So that's how that starts. And then we get a promo, which I can't remember if it was a video package on Dynamite or if it was just a Control Center package, but I only found it through the Control Center. But I'm pretty sure there were two versions of this, because this one cuts out a small part of it, which is the funny part where the production crew tells him, "You're aware this is he challenged as a Texas Deathmatch, right?" And Hangman goes, "A what?"
I remember that. That was hilarious.
So this video package starts with Hangman saying, "I said I wanted a challenger, and damn, it looks like I got a good one. Lance, if you want a shot at the title, I'd be glad to give you one in Atlantic City. Hangman Page versus Lance Archer for the AEW World Championship." And then it cuts to some video, and Lance Archer then starts talking, and he says, "Cowboy, when we fight, it's not going to be any normal fight. It's going to be my fight. It's going to be a Texas Deathmatch." Then you have Shivani cut in explaining Texas Death, which is as having a 10 count to get up to your feet. If you can't, you lose the match. It cuts back to Lance Archer saying, "You have no idea what you've gotten yourself into, because this, as I said, it's my match. I stepped in the ring with Jon Moxley for the New Japan US title, and he wasn't ready for what I brought. You're not going to be ready for what I bring, and everything that's going to happen to you is going to be so much fun for me. And probably only me, because I can beat you any way I want. I can pin you, I can submit you, I can knock you the hell out. You just have to lay on the ground while I stand over your cold, dead corpse." So he's clearly explaining how you can win in a Texas Deathmatch for us idiots who don't know what this means. And they count to 10, raise my hand, and a whole new era of All Elite Wrestling starts with me, Lance Archer. And then Hangman's part of the promo, he says, "Everybody dies, right? That's what you say? I'm going to die in the heat wave of 2067, my wife's hand in mine as fire burns through the Appalachians. It won't be against you. So give me the blackout, choke slam me into the abyss, and I will climb back through all 9 layers and bring hell with me." Pretty good, right? We like that shit, huh? We like that shit?
God, I love him.
He's so good, right?
He's
He's like,
so good at this.
he's funny, he's serious, he's got it all. Like, he's got it all.
People throw around total package a lot. Total package.
Total package. That man is an attractive male. That's what. Listen, I just listened to Trish and Sarah's pod this earlier today, episode 5, and Trish said that, and that shit popped me for real. Oh my god. Okay. So, my observations from this promo is that, first, Lance makes it very clear that this is his type of match. So, in the Texas Death promo, he's very, Hangman is very much the one who things will be happening to, not the other way around. So he says, "Choke slam me into the abyss," right? So, like, he's expecting to be the victim in this. But he still thinks that he'll come out the victor, because he says he will climb back out through all 9 layers, right? So he knows that he's the underdog. He knows this isn't his match. So he has taken no ownership of what this match is yet, right? Because this is his first time experiencing it with Lance Archer in AEW.
Right.
So, but he does plan on conquering hell in this scenario, right?
Yeah.
And then he even goes so far as to say that he will bring hell back with him. Your observations?
You, like, touched on it just a little bit. You said he hadn't made it his own yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think him winning this Texas Deathmatch definitely was the tipping point for the match to start to become more like his
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
because yeah, he hasn't lost a Texas Deathmatch yet, I don't believe. So
Mm-hmm.
it has become as the year has gone by, and we entered a new one, the Texas Deathmatch has become Hangman's match.
Exactly. That's why I thought it was important to to see that they start off this way, that Lance is very, very specific in saying, this is mine, and you know, you're the one who's gonna be hurting in this match. Because
Yeah.
this is my home. This is what I do. So hit by him winning this match, which that's the match result, is Hangman defeats Lance Archer with a buckshot lariat, using the referee as a platform to vault over. He lariats Archer over the ropes into a table, and he wins by 10 count. So by winning this match, it's like he has taken over this role of being the Texas Deathmatch guy. It is no longer Archer's, it is now his. Um, After this, Adam Cole comes out, lays the AEW World Championship on Hangman's shoulder, taps on it 3 times. Um, we get we get a match between Adam Cole and Hangman, which is just a regular match at Revolution. Hangman retains, and then we move on a couple of weeks later to a second match with Hangman versus Cole. Uh, this is their second match in AEW, third overall. There's 2 separate promos. So there's an in-ring promo, and then there's a video package promo before the Texas Deathmatch. Cole has just beaten Christian Cage, and Christian Cage is obviously at this point in time Adam Cole considers him a legend. Okay, and he is telling everybody that he just beat a legend and this and that. And Hangman walks out, and Cole says, "No, you cut that music and you stop right there, damn it, because I am not fighting you until that AEW World Championship is on the line. Do you hear me? You're afraid of me. I just beat a legend and I'll whoop your ass any day of the week." And then, as he's continuing to speak, Hangman takes Cole's mic out of his hands, and he is very aggressive about this. He says, "So you want a title match, huh? You want a championship match, huh? You want another match with the Hangman?" And then he slaps Cole in the face and says, "You look at me when I'm talking to you." And he says, "I guess after last week you realized you couldn't just steal the championship, so you want another shot at it. Well, fine, I'll give you that. And let it serve as your punishment." First of all, hot. Hot
Yeah.
shit right there.
Yeah.
That shit was fire. The crowd reaction to everything that Hangman did, like, throughout his reign, is just crazy, because it's just that it was so hot. Like,
Mhm.
literally. Like, I sweat every time that he cuts a promo. It's insane. It's just, he's so good. So, Cole says, "Is that so? Is that so?" He makes me giggle. He's so funny. Okay.
That little man syndrome where he just spouts out just talking out of his fucking ass, and I'm like, "You can't back that up. I know you can't."
I love Adam Cole. I love him so much.
I love him so much. I hope he's recovering okay. I can't wait to see him again.
I can't wait for him to turn heel again. Anyway, but
Yeah.
that's another story. That's another story.
Okay.
So, Hangman continues. He says, Because next week, unless I'm mistaken, we have a live Rampage in Texas. So the match you think you want so bad will not be a normal match. It sure as hell won't be on your terms, because next week I'll defend this championship against you, Adam Cole, in a Texas Deathmatch. And the fucking crowd went fucking wild. Like, they legitimately, he paused talking just for the crowd to cheer because they fucking popped. They popped huge. They popped huge.
I
And
miss those. I miss the days of the Hangman pops for his promos when he was champion. I
God,
think
it was
about
so
that
good.
all the time.
Yeah.
Hangman's championship reign is my Roman Empire. People throw that around a lot on TikTok. What do you think about all the time? Hangman Page is champion, baby.
Yeah, my brother had to explain this to me the other day. Like, I kind of understood what he was what people meant when they said Roman Empire, but I didn't realize like where it came from, the origin of it. And it's like apparently guys only think about one thing all day, and it's the Roman Empire. Um, that's so
Yeah, that
fucking
I don't believe.
stupid. That's so fucking
It's
stupid. I'm
dumb as hell.
sorry. I'm
It's dumb as hell.
sorry. I'm sorry. That just okay. It don't make no sense. But okay. But yeah, Hangman, Hangman during his reign, that's my Roman Empire. Um, so he waits for the crowd to die down a little bit and he says, "And Cole, you've got a week. If I were you, I'd get my affairs in order." And the whole crowd goes, "Whoa." So what do you think about this promo match?
So, one thing that
Mm-hmm.
I thought about a lot when it came to Adam Page, just
Mm-hmm.
realized I remembered who we were talking about and I had to
Clarify.
differentiate. Um, is that whenever he will tend to invoke the character of the Hangman,
Mm-hmm.
and the character of the Hangman is a Punisher.
Yep.
He is a Reaper of Souls. Um, and I think it makes a lot of sense that he brings out the Hangman character a lot when it comes to Texas death matches because he invokes a lot of heaven and hell, and in his match with Adam Cole, um, crucifixion, essentially,
Mm-hmm. The
with the
crucifixion.
crown of thorns. Is it crucifixion?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my bad.
No, you're
Crucifixion.
good. You're good.
Um, I know, yeah, I just like to pronounce things correctly. Hate when I don't do it on the first try, but anyway.
It's okay.
Um, yeah, so I appreciate that he said Texas Death would be Adam Cole's punishment, because that's kind of like a precursor to the Hangman is coming out, and he's coming to reap your soul. He's coming to hang you, and you will be done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that is also why I like to think of "God's Gonna Cut You Down" as Hangman's song. Fuck you, Kenny versus Takeshita, for using it. You're incorrect.
Damn, we're just on the Kenny hate train today, aren't we?
He's on my nerves at the moment. I've been mad about that ever since, though.
I know when I heard it, because I think I watched that before you did, and I was
I
like,
did,
oh
yeah.
no. I was like, oh no. Matt's just gonna have a fit.
And I did, because how dare you? Like, Kenny is one of the people that the Hangman cuts down.
Yeah. I made the gift
Like, that's
set,
not
we all know.
yeah. So anyway, um, it's just Hangman being very, very perfect at making poetic and cohesive, promos for his matches, and I greatly appreciate them.
hmm For my observations on this, you get Hangman is much more sure of himself than he was with the Lance Archer one. He even goes so far as to put the challenge out of Texas Death himself. and he makes it clear that Cole will be the one dying at the end of this. So he is no longer the victim in it.
Mm-hmm.
He is the victimizer. So he basically tells Cole with that last line, like, get your will ready, buddy, because you're gonna die. I also pointed out in my observations that he calls himself the Hangman in this. So I like that we both had that thought. And he also, with that last line, gives Cole a piece of advice. Okay, so the next thing we have is still Adam Page versus Cole. But this is the video package promo that they air before the match that same week. So you have Cole talking about when he debuted, this and that, puts over the wrestling industry, puts over Christian Cage. Then he says there's still people wondering, still questioning whether or not I could be or whether I deserve to be the AEW World Champion. And I know one of those people is you, Hangman Adam Page. And Hangman's part in this is, Adam Cole, you think I give a shit when you started wrestling? He's just
A little asshole.
it's just Cole like pouring out his heart and soul over here, talking about when he started wrestling and this and that, and just Hangman like, you think I give a fuck?
L plus ratio plus don't give a fuck. L plus ratio, no one asked.
I'm telling you, he's the funniest man alive. So,
He is, though.
so,
Paige is so funny.
so Cole continues and he says, you have given me my one and only defeat here in AEW because you were the luckiest man alive that night, and now you want to test your luck. And it's like, okay, buddy. Okay.
All right, man. Sure, man. Sure, bud.
Hangman continues with, you know, they say there are two types of men. Those with a loaded gun and those who dig. Adam Cole, you are almost done digging. Bad motherfucker.
He's so cool. He's so cool. Oh my god.
Cole continues on with, you have some preconceived notion that I'm afraid of this matchup. And it's like, nobody. First off, I'm gonna cut you off right there. This is me talking. Emmy's talking now. The look on his face when Hangman said Texas Death and the entire crowd popped. Cole was fucking scared. I don't want to hear shit from him, okay? Whatever he's saying is a
Those
lie.
timbers were shivered. He was afraid. He was scared. He didn't want to do that. Like, the look on his face, like, he was like a you know that look a cat gets when you scare them and they, like, have their ears back and they're, like,
Yeah.
leaned back?
Yes.
That was him.
Literally. That was literally him. It's like, oh, see, I wanted a title match, but I didn't want that stipulation. That's not how easy I was. I was expecting it to be much easier than this. No.
I think he was thinking, "Man, I thought I could cheat, but there's no cheating in Texas Death because there's no rules."
Exactly. Okay, so Cole continues. He says that I'm afraid of what you may do to me in Dallas. This Texas Deathmatch for the AEW World Championship. I ain't scared of shit. And then Hangman says, the best lessons in life are lived, not preached. And before we go any further, he said that shit at the beginning of April 2022. CM Punk, my dog, did you really think that he was gonna listen to anything you had to fucking say? Okay? Anything at all. Did you think he was gonna listen to anything you had to say once he said that shit? Obviously, he doesn't watch these video packages back and doesn't give a shit about what else happens on the show because he did not see that shit. He did not hear it. He didn't hear it. If he had heard that shit, he should have known immediately shut the fuck up. Whatever you got to say, keep it to your goddamn self. Because that man ain't gonna listen to you. Okay? He is gonna live his shit. Okay? He ain't gonna listen. Alright, I'm done. Do you have anything else to add to that?
First and foremost, CM Punk does not think. So there was the immediate conflict is talking comes first, thinking comes last, and biting comes second. I
oh
had to.
my.
It was right
Oh.
there.
Oh my god. Okay, so then. So Cole continues. He said, what I'm scared of is how I would feel when I woke up the next morning, saying I didn't do all that I could to become the AEW World Champion. Because that feeling of disappointment at AEW Revolution, when I was not able to go back into my hotel room, look myself in the mirror, and go, God damn it, you're the best. I don't give a damn what anybody else thinks of me. I know how good I am. And that AEW World Championship, it proves it. When he said this, back then, like when it happened, it sounded so much like something that fit Hangman to the core at the time, because I truly believed that he still didn't think that he was actually fit to be world champion. And
Yeah,
like
I would agree.
that sounds like a mantra that somebody would be lying to themselves with. So
Yeah.
it just hit me in those Adam squared feelies, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We've gotta have, like, an episode on Atom Squared. We've gotta do, like, our you if we did an episode where it was solely about explaining the details and the philosophies of our main ships, for you, it would be Atom Squared, for me, it would be Hangman.
Funny because I only started shipping Adam squared during 2022. Like I I don't know. It's like it took me over completely. And it's not that I don't like other ships. Obviously, I love Hangman and Moxley. Like
Hell yeah, brother.
Hangman and Moxley is arguably my oldest Hangman ship to me, because I we literally thought of it in 2019 before they'd even touched. Can you believe that? It took them 3 years, like, to actually get into a feud with each other, and they only had 2 matches before then. Both multi-mans. One was a tag and one was a casino ladder match. Like, dude, that's why it takes me over. But Adam Squared is just it's just how can you sit there and not understand how these people are like their fates are intertwined, like they're threaded. They're like they're literally two sides of the same coin. I don't understand how nobody gets this, but like a choice few of us here in Tumblerina world. I don't know.
Take a breath, take a breath.
Just I love Ad Squared, man.
I understand.
So he Hangman pipes up next. It's his part of the promo, and he says, "This Friday night on Rampage, Texas Deathmatch, Adam Cole, I will rip you limb from limb. I will knock your teeth down your throat and make you swallow your own blood." Getting a little violent there, aren't we?
He'd better.
Uh, and Cole closes out the video package with, I can't wait to be able to look myself in the mirror, to look at the rest of this stupid roster and go, that's right. The AEW World Champion is here, baby. And it's just like, this is why you're a loser.
Uh-huh. I was literally just sitting here thinking, "Aw, he's so cute. He's not winning shit."
You're such a loser, buddy. Oh, you're my little baby boy. You're such a loser. Oh, why do
Adorable.
you call yourself champion? Stop that. I know he did that when he was in NXT because people used to say it endearingly about him all the time because he said it all the time. And I'm just like, it's the worst gimmick you could ever keep. Why did you have to bring that here? Please don't say that. Please. Please
It's like
don't.
it's integral for him to be the biggest shithead around. Like, in NXT, he was the biggest shithead around,
Oh,
and
yes.
it's like, he has to do it. Precious thing.
He's I love him. He's the worst.
Yep.
Okay. So, do you want to talk about your observations here or is there anything you would like to say?
Um, I really like that I like the Hangman saying that Cole is almost done digging, which means it's like the countdown. So Cole started digging once he challenged Hangman for the first time. And let me just say, the image of Hangman with a bloody face and then the title draped over his shoulder with Adam Cole's hand on the title, hardest image I've ever seen in my life. Like,
Mhm.
if that wouldn't freak people out, I'd get that framed and hung up in my home. Like, people
God.
coming over would be threatened by that, so I'm not going to do that, but it's like, it is such a beautiful image, and it's like, it's like the embodiment it's kinda like the embodiment of Adam Squared, where it's like Hangman has just fought tooth and nail for everything, and he's left bloody, but still champion, but still victorious, and here comes Adam Cole to try and take it.
Mhm.
Here comes Adam Cole connected to him again,
With as little effort as possible.
with as little effort as humanly possible. Yeah,
Because
and
one
it's
thing I will
yeah.
say, sorry, let me just real quick. One
Go
thing I
ahead, go
will
ahead.
say about Cole that I could not stand when he first got there is how much time he was eating up on the television. I was getting upset, genuinely. I was like, why does why does Cole always have TV time every fucking week? What is going on? It was him, it was Punk, it was Maxwell. I was like, why are you people eating into the champion's TV time right now? I'm getting tired of it.
Yeah. What else did I have? Yeah, so it was, Hangman saying, "You're almost done digging." So it's like it goes back to the shovel broke ground when Cole draped the title over Hangman and slapped it 3 times. The hole was starting to dig when Cole duct taped Hangman, crucified him officially. Uh, essentially, he crucified him, sorry. Um, to the
Sling
ropes,
Jesus.
to the ring ropes, um got even farther when Cole tried to cheat to win at Revolution, and he's almost done by the time they reach Texas Death. And once they reach Texas Death, the hole is complete. It's time to just bury Adam Cole. So I just cohesive.
The the imagery that Hangman brings up every time, it's so perfect. It's like you
Mhm.
can see the things that he's talking about. You know exactly what is going on in his head, how he views things because he just describes it so well to you.
Yep.
So, yeah, Western references, I guess, to me was the first thing I was thinking about. Talking about digging your own grave, you know, somebody watching over you with a with a with a shotgun pointed at your back as you keep digging your own grave. It ties into the promo that we haven't gone over here because it wasn't a Texas Death promo. Uh, the story time with Adam Page, where he basically tells Cole that he's gonna put him in the grave, you know, with a freshly cocked buckshot. Um, so definitely plays in with a lot of guns, westerns, digging your own grave. I like that a lot from Hangman. Um, so the match result of this was, as you said, Hangman puts a barbed wire crown on Cole's head and dead eyes Cole through a table. which to me is just like the worst thing you can do to your knees. Like, I'm so tired of him dead-eyeing people through the table. He did it last week too.
Yeah, I think about his knees a lot. I'm like, "You're gonna have to use those later."
Like, he's already told us his legs are shot and have been for
Yeah.
years. And you're just killing your knees, bud. Like, what are you doing? And he wins that by 10 count. So there we have the Cole promos. Next we have Hangman versus Jon Moxley. I did not transcribe the promo with Mox that they cut in Laredo after Hangman's match with Kip Sabian, which is the one where Mox challenges to Texas Death, simply because it's not really much of Hangman speaking. So I wanted to kind of talk more on the stuff where Hangman actually talks about it. Biggest thing between the two of them in that promo was both of them talking about going down a cold, dark alley with each other. Um, um
Us.
sirs, sirs,
And what are we
please.
doing in that dark alley?
What? Because see, the thing is that as a Tumblrina and well-known supernatural girly, the first thought when I think about two men in a cold, dark alley is when Castiel grabbed Dean Winchester, pinned him to a wall in a cold, dark alley, and basically, like, just got so mad at him. But the whole time you were like, damn, the sexual tension right here is crazy, dog.
I said this to describe a different ship in a different fandom, but the tension was as tight as a steel cable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So men in their dark alleys. Anyway, so Hangman's Texas Deathmatch promo before the match with Jon Moxley. This is the one where he looks like he's in some sort of barn metal arena looking thing. I can picture it in my head, and I know what it looks like. It looks like something that you would use to have animals, like from what you fucking call those? Like, you know how the trailers where you keep animals,
Yeah,
and then this would be like a place where all of those trailers would all just like be in a place, and then there would be hay and shit in different places, and I don't know. It's kind of like a barn, but it's like metal.
I think so. I think what you're talking about is a Quonset.
I never heard that word. I'm from Texas, and I don't fucking know this shit. This sucks. Anyway, what is that?
So a Quonset is like a big kind of like half cylinder where there's like a lot of pens for a lot of animals. It's really,
Okay.
really big. It's metal. Um, it's usually got it's usually cut off like with two double doors. It's really long, so they can fit a lot of livestock in it, like usually like horses and cows and
Yeah.
pigs and things like that.
Yeah, I think it was similar to that, except it wasn't cylinder. Cause you could see that there was like a 90-degree angle roof. Like it was
Ah,
definitely pointy. Like there was definitely a triangle roof. But that's kind of what I think. I think we're kind of thinking along the same lines. Right, so he was cutting the promo in there. And he says, Sunday, we finish it. The finale. Hangman Mox. Texas Death. I talked to Dark Order earlier today, and I don't think he meant anything by it, but Alex said that if this was the end of Mox and me, that weren't I just a little bit afraid of losing? And then he gestures at himself, just like points up and down. He's like, look at me. This match, this is all I got left to lose. I had the AEW World Championship, and I lost that. I had another shot at it, Mox, and you took that away from me. You can't take my friends away from me. You already beat Uno within an inch of his life last week. You can't take my memory from me, it's gone. You can't take away the feeling within the tips of my fingers because I ain't got it no more, Mox. And you can take away my heart because you couldn't carry it. I love this man. Anyway, continuing.
He's so sweet.
I know. I love him. This Sunday, John, I take everything away from you. I take your spot at the top of the food chain here. I take away your pride in blood and violence when at the end of the throes of war, I, not you, I am the man left standing. And you're right, I'm not the same kind of animal as you. I don't enjoy violence. I hate it. And then he spits on the ground. I hate it to its core. But this Sunday, I will be the most violent and bloodthirsty son of a bitch that you've ever seen, not in spite of that, but because of it. Because that is who I will have to be to beat you, and beating you is the last glimmer of hope that I do have here, John. This is Texas death, and there's only two ways out. Either you live, or you die. And I ain't done living. John, after Sunday, you will never be the same.
Alright, first of all, lion ass. You love violence. Like, let's be real here. You love that. You love that shit.
Yeah, didn't
But
nobody make you say, what do you say? I will knock your teeth down your throat and make you swallow your own blood, ya bitch. Like,
he's
nobody
talking
made you
about
say
he's the
that.
one he's talking about he's the one with a loaded gun. I'm like, "What happened to hating violence?" But in all seriousness, this is a home run promo.
You know what's
Yeah.
crazy about this is I heard uh pretty much the only white guy podcaster that I listen to recap this promo. Homie did not like the promo. And he was like, I don't know, he said Hangman said some shit. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? What the fuck are you talking about right now? What are you talking about? That was so good. You knew exactly what he was saying.
I hate men.
I
You
I
fucking idiot.
I I those are the kinds of things that make me just sigh. It's
Yeah,
like,
you
really?
guys can't see how hard I'm rolling my eyes. It's hard.
How does that not make perfect sense to you, everything that he is saying right now? It was beautiful.
Yeah,
It was so good.
you
What?
know that the she was a poem, but he couldn't read. That's what's happening here. You
Oh
can't
my
read,
god.
clearly.
Hangman is a poem, and these dudes can't read.
I'm telling you.
Oh my fucking god. You're so right. Oh my god. I've been thinking about that for like the next week. Okay, so my observations of this are that Hangman makes it very clear that he's trying to take everything from John, including his spot at the top of the food chain, which is important. And I think we can connect that to what he says to Swerve in the Texas Death promo. The only reason that Hangman has a spot for Swerve to take is because he took it from Mox. Um, Here in this promo, he doesn't want to do this. He is reluctant. He's a reluctant participant in this massacre, perhaps because John was the one who proposed it, as opposed to him proposing it. But he knows that he has to do this. And there is no mention of hell, but there's lots of battle and war imagery in this one. There's something about him saying at the end of the throes of war that makes me, it scratches my brain just right, and it's just so perfect. It's like somebody just picked him up out of Lord of the Rings and set him into AEW Dynamite, because that is so fucking beautiful what he just said. Like, who uses those words? That's how I feel about Eddie Kingston sometimes. Like, Eddie Kingston is straight out of Shakespeare, Hangman is like straight out of some medieval fantasy that is just, it's just like, oh my god, you're just, I,
No one
I
does it
see
better.
it, I see it, I see it in front of me, like, like it's right there in front of me. You're so perfect. I
He
love
is
this guy.
perfect.
I love this guy.
He is perfect.
Madge, your thoughts?
You pretty much covered my thoughts on it. Yeah, it's like it's like Hangman wanted to be past this. Like he didn't want to, probably because he was no longer champion, he didn't want to have to invoke being the Hangman again. But it's like Mox is like actively goading him into it. It's like he has no choice. He's being lured. Like he has to. Um, and he doesn't want to, but he will because it's necessary. Because that's what John is making him do.
Mhm.
Um, and I think it adds a cool dynamic to the match that it's not something Hangman is unfamiliar with. It's not something that he wants to do, but he's going to do it and he can win because he's gone through it before.
I think we have to remember that this is the man who Lance Archer said he's had a Texas Deathmatch with before.
Oh yeah.
Remember? He says in the promo earlier that before the Texas Death with Hangman that I've had a Texas Deathmatch with Jon Moxley in New Japan for the US title. So it's like it's really kind of interesting to see Mox come in here and challenge now Hangman, who has the win over Archer in a Texas Death, kind of almost like he's trying to get his win back, in a death match. Like he lost to Lance. Hangman beat Lance. And now John's trying to get back that win, you know? Which I kind of like a lot.
Trying to
It,
get his
it
lick
what
back.
Yeah, exactly. Like as I was transcribing that first Lance Archer part of that promo last night, I was thinking about it. I was like, oh, they're all connected. Oh, it's really
I
cool.
love storytelling like that though, where it all leads back to the first moment.
So there's actually another promo that I'm going to mention after we talk about the match result. So the match result is that Hangman hangs Mox with a link chain over the ropes, and he wins via tap out submission. Um, so this, I've had a conversation with a bunch of people about how the Texas Deathmatch rules don't necessarily make sense, but now that I've gone back and transcribed that Lance Archer promo where he explains everything, I'm like, oh, no, this does make sense. Mox tapping out does make sense. It is one of the ways in which you can lose in a Texas Deathmatch, precisely. So I ain't gonna talk about that shit no more. The rules make sense, okay? um, so the post-match promo that Hangman gives, it's the one where he's got a shiner and Renee's talking to him. Uh, so Renee says, thanks, guys. I'm here with Hangman Adam Page. Hangman, we're just a few days removed from Revolution. I know how John's feeling. How are you doing? And he grunts. And he says, physically, I've been better, but then my mind, my heart, my soul, all is well. Sunday, I let that heart blacken and I let it go somewhere with absolutely no light. Not because I wanted to, because I had to. And let that serve as a warning. If you want to try me, you want to push me, I'll take you to hell. I'll rip off your flesh. I will choke you until life all but leaves your body, and I'll ride back out. Renee says, is it safe to say that things between you and John are finally done? And he goes, hmm. I'd given you a lot of flack for these interviews, and I think I owe you an apology, specifically for Sunday. I'm sorry for what you had to see. Um, but if you want to blame somebody, don't look at me. As far as Mox, after Texas Death, for me, I'm finished. Madge, you got some things you want to say?
Turns out he wasn't actually finished. That went on for roughly 3 more months.
When he said that, I remember
But
thinking to myself, something weird about that. That don't sound right. That sounds like a comedy bit. That sounds like I'm finished. Fast forward 2 months later.
yeah, that's exactly what happened. Um, but on a more uh what should I say here? So basically, I remember listening to that promo the first time. I remember the way Hangman said, until your breath leaves your body. I remember putting my phone in my hand, cocking back my arm, and nearly chucking my phone at my mirror as fast as humanly possible because the way he said it was so sensual. It made me it gave me, like, emotional zoomies. Like, I couldn't handle it.
I tried to encapsulate that feeling when I narrated it just now, but I know I wasn't even close.
'Cause he says it like, "Until your breath leaves your body." I'm like, "Jesus, yo, calm down.
Why are you talking to the cameraman like that?
Bro, you're saying that in front of the dude's wife." Like,
Bro, if I were Renee, I'd just be like, bites my lips, looks away.
I'd be like, "Can you please stop trying to steal my husband? You've been trying this whole time. Can you just"
Nah, shit. If I were Renee, I'd be like, do you want in on this?
Real, actually.
We can add you to the polycule.
Yeah. Eddie's already in here. I think you guys would be cool.
And hey, turns out they tagged together in a freaking, what was it, 5-on-5 at
I
Forbidden
think it was
Door or
4 on
something?
4.
Four on
It was an
four.
eight-man tag.
They were on the same side, and Hangman was like, "I don't have a problem with you,
Yeah.
Daddy." Yeah, see, they're cool. They're in cahoots. Yeah, but horniness of the promo aside,
Yeah.
I remember you going absolutely insane over the mind, soul, heart thing and the heart blackening.
Yeah. Um, now, because my memory is so very bad, I can't remember which direction we decided, but I remember us going down an intense rabbit hole of Hangman and Moxley being the heart and the soul of AEW because one has the strongest heart in the business and the other has the strongest soul. And they each have a problem with the other one. Do you remember who was who? Who was heart, who was soul?
So Hangman to me uh was shit. Hold on 1 second. Let me find the gift set.
Yeah, because I can't remember for the life of me what we decided on. But I remember and then we both looked at for Double or Nothing later on what their cards were. Because for Double or Nothing Fan Fest, when they give you the autographed 8 by 10s, they are playing cards. And I believe both Hangman and Mox at one point
Okay.
um
I got it. I
were
got
the
it.
ace. Yeah.
No, keep talking. Keep talking.
So Hangman and Mox were both the ace cards because it's kind of debated on who is the actual ace of AEW. Is it Mox? Is it Hangman? So they've both been the ace card, and they both are the heart and soul of AEW. And it's kind of like it goes into like the brain rot of Hang Mox, and it's like they're just so intertwined. Their characters are so similar yet different. Um, and it's kind of like who is who, who's on which side.
Mm-hmm. So I remember our answer here. Um, I made a gift set of both of them because after Revolution, I went down this rabbit hole of just listening to as many podcasts, recaps of it as I could, uh, of all the weeks leading up to that and everything. And I listened to the Fightful stream. This was back when I was still listening to Fightful. And didn't last very long, about a couple of months. But Sean Ross Sapp said probably the only thing that I will ever attribute to him in a positive way. He said, I think that Mox and Hangman might be the heart and soul of AEW, which is why, another reason why we went down the rabbit hole of them being the heart and the soul. And we decided that Hangman was the heart and Mox was the soul. And I found two reasons. So, Hangman said in the pre Texas Death promo, he said, and you couldn't take away my heart because you couldn't carry it. So, already there, he's basically stating that he has a very, very strong heart, and Mox couldn't carry that heart. Then, post Texas Death, after Hangman does this promo with Renee, where he's talking about letting his heart blacken, which means he's in full control of when he lets his heart go to those dark places. Mox cuts a promo where he says, I am absolutely incorruptible of soul. And I use both those quotes in the gift set. So his soul is completely intact. Always has been. Mox has no problems with, like, morals, judgments. Whatever he does it. And his soul is completely incorruptible of that fact. Whereas with Hangman, he struggles with his soul. He struggles with, what's right and what's wrong. Mox doesn't because it's just, it is what it is. And that's how he views everything that he does. It is what it is. But when it comes to things of the heart, he struggles with it. Like with what happened with William Regal, with what happened with Bryan Danielson, with what happened with Seth Rollins, with what happened with Roman Reigns. His constant story is believing that certain people, can be trusted. And then it turns out that they can't be trusted. So his heart is broken, pretty much. His heart has been broken a million times by other people. So his heart is not good. Hangman's heart is good. His soul is fucked up. And with Mox, it's the other way around. That's how we decided it, right? Yeah?
Yeah,
I think
that
so.
brings back all the whole memory.
Yeah.
Because I remember saying, Hangman struggles with his sense of self, not his sense of others.
Mhm.
So it's like, and of course, Mox struggles with his sense of others, but never himself. So it's, yeah, Mox is the soul, Hangman is the heart.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think that's very much so their dynamic. And I think
Mhm.
that's beautiful.
Yeah. So my observations on this actual promo, hell imagery, hell imagery, hell imagery, hell imagery. It's back, baby. So,
Back in business.
yes, the line about, I'll take you, he says, I'll take you to hell, I'll rip off your flesh, I'll choke you, da 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 da. And he says, and I'll ride back out. Okay, so that's perfectly in line with what he said in the Lance Archer promo, where he says he'll ride back out, climb back through all 9 layers, and bring hell with me. But in this one, he's very specific about taking somebody else into hell with him. Once again, being the victimizer, not the victim. Um, so, and then, okay, so then this is also a warning to anybody who dares to fuck with him. It's a bit more heelish than the other promos. Like, heelish in the sense that it's like kind of brutal what he's saying here, but not necessarily like I'll kill anybody, but it's like anybody who steps in my motherfucking way, you know?
Yes.
Um so yeah, that's what we got there for those two promos. Um and now we come back to Hangman versus Swerve.
Mhm.
Okay. So he's pacing backstage and he says, "It's a shame. It's a damn shame when you think about it, really, Swerve. The things that you could have done. At Wrestle Dream, it took Nana, it took his crown, but you had me beat. You could have taken my spot. You could have challenged for the World Championship, but what you decided to do instead is the biggest mistake that you could have made in your sad, pathetic, and meaningless life. Swerve, when you open the door and you cross the threshold into my home, you step through the gates of hell. And at Full Gear, I take you down. I take you down to the fiery abyss for eternity. Because at Full Gear, you've got the Hangman in a Texas Deathmatch." And then he had to breathe for like 5 seconds. He said, and if I have to give you one piece of advice in this next week that you've got, I tell you to take some time. I tell you to take some time to walk around Swerve's house. I tell you to look at every photo on the wall, look at pictures of your mom, your dad, your kids, your nephews, your nieces, cousins, aunts, uncles, and I want you to imagine every single precious moment that you could have had with them. I want you to see every birthday, every prom, every funeral, every wedding, and I want you to know that you will never, never be there. Not while you can walk, not while you can talk, Swerve. Because at Full Gear, I take you to the bottom. I take you to the abyss. I leave you in fire for eternity. And I want you to know that every November, I'll walk with my son, hand in hand. We'll pay you a visit. And I'll watch him piss on your grave. Swerve Strickland. What could have been? Holy shit.
You see, with a promo like that, he can't do anything but win.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'd like to
Like,
happen.
he has to, right? Like, if they want to, they can continue this feud afterwards and maybe have Swerve win the feud, but Hangman has to win this, right? Like, you don't cut a promo like that without intent to deliver. And when Paige has intent, he delivers.
Mm-hmm. So, once again, and I feel like we say this with everyone, but that shit was hot.
It was. It's not my fault that it is, though.
So, um, my observations here, and I feel like now that we've heard all the others, it's really, really easy to see the comparisons to it. So, you have lots more hell imagery, taking Swerve to the bottom, the abyss, leaving him in the fiery depths, etc. You have Okay, I'm specifically going to note now, which is my favorite part about going back and listening to everything and then coming to this moment here. Hell was a place that he was dragged to the first time. The second time, he dragged somebody else with him. The third time, dragged somebody in, left them there, and he rode back out. And this fourth time, hell is his home. It is his home. He said,
Yeah,
when you cross the threshold, you stepped through hell. He was literally talking about his home. Oh, what was
I
that?
just thought of something. So, there is a Marvel character
Okay.
where their entire job is to essentially send people to hell. That's their power. He is called the Ghost Rider. Guess what song Hangman used the Texas Deathmatch before he finally called hell his home? Ghost Riders in the Sky. He became the Ghost Rider of AEW. He
I
is the fiery skull on the fiery motorbike, or the fiery horse for that matter. He rides in, he sends souls to hell, he goes right back home.
Oh my god, he became excuse me. Excuse me. Just 1 second. Then cowboy, change your ways today, or with us you will ride, trying to catch the devil's herd across these endless skies. He didn't change his ways.
Yep.
Oh my god.
I can't believe it took me just now figuring that out.
The crazy part is when he told us the name of the song, right? I went looking for the song. That was the part that I specifically noted from the song, from the lyrics. And I was like, this means something, right? And then you had Hangman post the Instagram with the pictures of him from Revolution with that fucking caption with those exact fucking part of the song. And I was like, oh my god, we're back on the same page, baby. Me and Hangman on the same fucking brain cell over here. Oh, scratches my brain. It scratches my brain. Oh,
The
I'm so
emotional
happy.
zoomies.
Emotional zoomies. You're so right. Oh my god. Oh my god. Madge, that's so perfect.
Yeah, I know what I have to draw now. I know what my next project is.
Okay, so, oh my god.
It's banging, right?
That's banging. That's banging. I love that so much, Madge.
I'm gonna be thinking
That's
about
so
that
good.
all day.
Forever.
Yeah, stuck in my head for the rest of my life.
Okay, so the next thing, um, I loved the juxtaposition of Hangman having a home and Swerve merely having a house. Cause there's a lot of like there's a lot of different sayings, where people talk about a house and a home, right? A home is a place where you belong, whereas a house is just it's a building,
Mhm.
you know? So for him to say that and then also call hell his home, it's crazy because it's like he's got this personal attachment and belonging to this place. And not only is he saying that, but he's saying like, people can chant Swerve's house at you all you want, you know. They can make you feel good when they say it because that means that they're cheering for you or whatever, but it's not your home and it never will be your home because it's just a house, you know. It's there's something that they could have played with a bit more there that I
I
wish we could have
also,
had more talking about it.
yeah, I do want to add. I
Mhm.
think, I think Swerve having a house and not a home also goes into what Swerve had said about him having no regard for human life
Mhm.
because he has no, like, he didn't feel anything when good things happened to him. He has no emotional attachment. He can't have a home.
Mhm.
He can only inhabit places. He doesn't have a place to call his own because he simply doesn't have it in him to care,
I love that.
which is which is another reason why Hangman is the heart of AEW.
That's so good. I like that a lot. it really goes to show, like, just the way they think about things.
Genuinely, no one does it better than Adam Page. I don't think anybody tells stories through promos and through matches the same way or better than Adam Page does. It's
Mm,
so unique, yet always comprehensive, always cohesive. It makes sense. Um, you can easily tell what he's going through the way he cuts his promos
mhm,
and through the way he words his promos.
exactly. The imagery is so good. Like we've been saying this whole time, it's you can see what he's saying. You can see it in your
Absolutely.
mind's eye.
Yeah,
It's just great.
100%.
Um, so you brought up Ghost Rider, right? But one of my observations was basically, can we just make Hangman the god of death now, please? Like,
See?
can
He is the Ghost
can
Rider of AEW.
I just want him to be Hades? It's the
There
same
is a
picture, right?
Hades there is a Hades in Marvel. Um, he's mostly his name is Mephisto. He's mostly just like a Satanist demon, though. He's built like Satan, but he's not Satan.
Mm,
He's more like the god of the underworld. So,
mm.
yeah.
Yeah, I just want him to be hot and sexy and all about death.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I also put, Hangman, I'll be your Persephone.
Real.
Okay, so some more things to note because I forgot to write them here. He also um gives Swerve advice here, just like he did to Cole. At the end of Cole's thing, he was like, "If I were you, I'd get my affairs in order." Swerve was a bit more like, "I want you to think about everything that you could have had, and then I want you to
It's a
think
lot
about the
more
fact that you will never have it."
it's a lot more existential than so much
Mhm.
as like because get your affairs in order is a threat. This is more so like, I need you to clearly understand you are not going to experience any of these things any longer because you will be gone. It's like teacher hangman, like if he had to sit down a child and like really explain something to them, that's kind of what he's doing with Swerve.
Like explaining to them that you were going to fail. I
Yeah.
need you to understand that if you continue on the path that you are on, you will fail out of this class and you will have to retake the 7th grade. I'm not projecting. I've never failed a class or a school year, so
Well, I failed 2 classes. I think I tech no, I didn't fail a school year, I just didn't graduate early. Not the same thing.
yeah. I hope that we've gotten to understand the just the little changes in what he said between each Texas death. Like Hell became a place that he basically was forced into at first, and then by the end of this, it is now his home. He feels comfortable here. He's at home here. He's made his bed in this place. And um, I'm hoping that that is enough for people to understand why the chances of him turning heel are so high. I know that there will still be people who fight back on like the full turn unless it makes perfect sense. Um, but the the foreshadowing is all here. It's been
Yeah.
here. Especially if you continue to end feuds with a Texas death match. It's like that's that you're a little sick in the head. Just a
He
little bit.
so is. He so is.
Just a little bit sick in the head. It's not completely okay in there. um, but yeah, mm, that that's what we got. That's what we got with Hangman and Texas Death. So I don't know if he'll win. I would like him to. I would really
I
like
hope
him
so.
to. I would like him to keep his streak going. He's already 3 for 3. I'd like him to go 4 for 4. Um, if he is in fact the new god of death, I would really, really appreciate it if he didn't lose the Texas Deathmatch, which is why I didn't want it in the first place. But I digress. Ash,
Yeah.
your thoughts?
I I think he's going to win, not just because I'm really hoping so. I think it's like this kind of setup only has one outcome so far. I don't think it's going to change. I think the feuds that he didn't end with Texas death matches in since his title reign, those were feuds that he lost. So I think it's a good omen, him choosing Texas Death. Also, I simply just I don't see, like, the type of heel that Swerve is beating Hangman at Texas Death. I could have seen Moxley beating him, I could have seen Lance Archer beating him, but considering that they didn't, I don't think they're going to start with Swerve. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'd say Swerve already lost the coffin match to Darby,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Darby has a streak with the coffin matches as well. I don't know that they would preserve Darby's streak and not preserve Hangman's, but then again, Tony Khan doesn't seem to give a fuck about Hangman or his character or anything that has anything to do with Hangman ever. He kind of just he kind of just lets him take the brunt of most situations recently, ever since May 2022. So I am not hopeful. Um not I am not hopeful, but I'm just very hesitant to believe, and I'm very doubtful that Tony Khan will actually let Hangman win this feud.
I also
I don't
think
trust him.
I understand that. I feel that. I also think that Hangman will win this part of the feud because I don't think this is necessarily the end of it. It could be, but, also it could not be because we thought Texas Death was the end of Moxie and Hangman, but it wasn't. Um,
Mhm.
I think Hangman is going to win because Tony doesn't also want to have to put Swerve in the title picture right after, because he kinda shot himself in the foot with that being the premise of their feud is essentially Swerve wanting all the title shots that Hangman gets and wanting the title.
And
He's
then
already
putting him
set
in a
up.
TNT title match
Yeah,
contendership.
exactly. Yeah, because
Idiot.
he'd already set a title match for Full Gear, and he's already set a bunch of title matches for after Full Gear for Maxwell. So it would either be he doesn't wanna put Swerve in the, um, what do you call it, in the position of challenging for the title, immediately losing, or challenging for a freshly crowned champion's title and then losing because they're not gonna hot potato the AEW World Championship,
Mhm.
not again, if they don't have to. So I feel like that's what's going to happen because there are so many factors where it would make the most sense for Hangman to win. If there was only one factor and it's just the fact that Hangman has a streak going, I would feel less inclined to say he'll win, but there's also other booking decisions that go into this.
Mhm. Um Personally, I'm a big Swerve fan. I love Swerve. I think that it's great that he's getting all this extra time to really showcase himself. And he's really done a good job to really what do you call it? Capitalize on every opportunity that they give him and over the past year and a half. And one thing that I've seen some people say that now that I'm thinking about it, I do agree with, is that he's just now getting his feet on the ground when it comes to cutting the promos, when it comes to having all this TV time, this exposure, And the contract signing with him and Hangman, where you could tell that he was visibly more nervous than Hangman was being in the main event of a Dynamite cutting promos on somebody else, tells me that even though I want him to challenge for the title so badly right now, he still has a ways to go. And it has more to do with him speaking and getting those reps in with like practicing and practicing and practicing about this kind of stuff than it does with like wrestling. Like
Yeah,
wrestling,
yeah.
wrestling and character wise, he's got it. It's that it's the promo stuff that he needs to work on. And I think it'll be great if they continue to let him have time. But to push him into a title picture with somebody like Maxwell Jacob Friedman, who could eat
Or
you
Jay White.
alive, or Jay White, who could eat you alive. No.
Not a good recipe.
No. No, you're going to ruin that man. You're going to ruin that man. Don't do it. Uh-uh.
Yeah. Yeah,
No.
I agree.
Yeah. Bottom line, just let Swerve keep practicing. Keep him in the spotlight, but don't put him in there with Maxwell just yet. No. Don't do that.
It's like,
Nope.
it's this line from The Fast and the Furious, and it's like, you can't just step in the ring with Ali because you think you can box. And it's don't do that to him. Like, don't put him in the ring with, like, the Alis of our promo guys. Not yet.
Yeah. Even Hangman, sometimes I worry about him getting put back into a ring with Jay or Maxwell to cut a promo. Like, I get scared. Like, that's part of the reason why I wasn't too upset that, the whole Jay versus Hangman Title Tuesday match happened with like pretty much nothing to build it up. Because I was like, no, no, I'm scared.
Don't
Don't
you
do
dare
it.
give that man a mic. Don't you dare give him a mic. You make that man pipe down.
No, no, don't let Jay White bury Hangman Page, please.
Don't you let him speak on that man. Adam Page has a built-in defense against Maxwell because he can say, "Look at this wife and child I have that you don't." And then it's over. But against Jay, he probably could hold his own against him now, but also Jay is a little snake in the grass, and I have no idea what he'd pull out.
No idea what he would say to Hangman. Honestly. The only thing he can say is 4-0, baby. 4-0.
That's it, yeah. And that'll get to Hangman like nothing. Like, having something over Adam Page makes him upset.
Yeah, like that third Hangmox match. He
Yes.
fucking he was such a little bitch about it.
He was upset. He wasn't having it.
Oh my god. I love him.
He's perfect.
Yeah. I don't even want to talk about this other stuff.
Honestly, we don't have to. It's, like, labor intensive, and we've already gone to 2 hours.
Yeah. Um so honestly, to be real with you, let me summarize what the next two topics were. The next topic was what the fuck is up with the men's tag division? And here's the problem. FTR is the problem. Point blank done.
Yep.
Um so next question. Next topic. Continental Classic. Round robin. This is what we know. We have 17 shows from November 22nd to World's End. That's including Dynamite Rampage Collision. So if every person in a round robin tournament meets at least once, that's 66 matches total, plus quarters and semis apparently, which I didn't realize at this point. So without quarters and semis, it would be about 3 to 4 matches per week between all 3 shows. With semis and quarters, I guess you could bump that up to definitely 4 per week. And then you get like the finals at World's End. So as far as I can tell, the person that wins the AEWG1 is not going to challenge within this year. He's going to challenge next year, right? So whatever happens at World's End somehow has to make sense with whatever happens in that final. So once we start to get towards that last bit, we should have a better understanding of who's winning at World's End. Even though we don't even know who's going to be contesting anyway.
Who's in it yet?
Yeah, we don't know. Um, Trish and Sarah seem to be leaning towards Samoa Joe's winning that title. And I don't know how to feel about that. The reason is because every time that Joe is on television, people stay to watch. And he seems to be in like the plot of what's going on in this whole who's the devil, who is Max gonna have as a partner kind of thing. Joe just relinquished the TV title. He vacated the ROH TV title, the one that he had, because he said that if I want to set my eyes on the AEW World title, I can't be worrying about this other shit.
Yep. The
So
Oscar method.
the what?
The Oscar method. So basically, when Asuka was in NXT in like 2016, 2017, she was undefeated for 500 days as NXT Women's Champion. So
Right.
when they wanted to move her up to the main roster, they just simply had her vacate the title. They didn't have her lose or be pinned.
Remember.
So
Okay.
it's the Asuka method of keeping a champion strong but moving them on to a different title.
Yeah. Lots of discourse over that decision. Specifically with people that watch ROH who were upset that they didn't use this as a chance to elevate somebody else into that spot, making the championship kind of look like a joke. But at the same time, do you really want somebody to pin Samoa Joe and for Samoa Joe to say, "Now I'm going after the world title"?
Yeah,
No.
that's my philosophy on it is yeah, somebody isn't going to get the rub from that, but also you want to keep someone who's established and go for a
Mm-hmm.
higher title. So just have them vacate it instead of be pinned because it's never made a lot of sense to me when wrestlers who lose a title go on for a title that's higher right after.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense to me for keeping Samoa Joe as strong and as dominant as he's been by simply having him vacate the title and then go for a different one. Which is why I think that also worked for Asuka. Because she was so dominant for so long, it made sense that, okay, I ran out of opponents here. I want to go for something else. You guys can have it. I'm done.
Yeah. So, given what we know about what all has happened with Max and the Devil and Jay White and Max Caster and the Acclaimed and Samoa Joe and Wardlow, um, who do you think the guy underneath the devil mask is?
People have really gotten me on the Jack Perry train. They really have. Um, I think I think it would be very fitting if suddenly the person who Max berated for not having it in him to be able to be on the level of the devil became the devil to spite the devil. I think that would make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I would like to see Jack Perry again.
Mm-hmm. Something something of a like a counter argument toward that, like how that wouldn't make sense is that only people who are terminally online and know the bullshit about CM Punk and what happened would pop for that. But see, the thing is that when MJF decided to not show up to his Vegas meet and greet before Double or Nothing, and then he cut a mean ass promo on Tony Khan and the whole locker room and everything. The people who were probably either sitting in that audience or sitting at home probably had no idea what the fuck he was talking about. They just saw him get pinned easily by Wardlow. He cuts a mean ass promo and then he's gone for 3 months. Right? And then when he comes back, some guy in a devil mask shows up. The Tumblerinas know that it's him because of his ass. And
Immediately.
but then he reveals himself at the end after Punk wins the title off Mox, and he has the audio of a phone call with Tony Khan, right?
Mhm.
Basically, Tony begging him to come back and he'll give him all this money or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So that in itself, I feel, was probably enough to explain what happened that the non-online people would understand why MJF was gone for so long and then comes back as the devil. My question is, why can't you do that for Jack Perry? Right?
You probably could. Well, the thing about it was, it wasn't until the final moment that they did that, and we haven't reached the final moment with the devil yet, I don't think. I think that's coming at Full Gear, where Jack Perry will, like, unmask. I'm
Right.
not sure if they'll do, like, a phone audio call or if they'll do, like, a video package or what they do. Um, I just think it's not yet that moment, because
Mm-hmm.
that moment came a lot later
Right.
for Maxwell. It was after the 3, 4 months he was gone, however long he was gone, I can't do math.
For us right now, it's only been 2 months since no, all of September, all of October, mid-November. That's almost 3 months. That could work. But then again, Jack Perry didn't cut a scathing promo on his boss and then leave, so maybe it won't have the same effect that that did, I think. Um, so perhaps that's why that might not be a reason for him to be the devil. Um, I still do kind of hope it's Adam Cole.
I could see that.
I want this shit to end, dog. I want this shit to end. I want Max to lose everything, like you said. I want him to lose everything. I want him to lose his best friend. I want him to feel that betrayal so fucking hard that it just sends him just spiraling.
Careening into a
And
dark
he,
place.
and then he has to choose whether or not he's going to continue to be our scumbag or not. He has to make that choice, not let Adam Cole dictate that choice for him. Just because, oh, he got a friend now, and now he's going to choose to be good because he's got a friend. No. Fuck that shit. Figure it out on your own. The rest of us have to. um, yeah. Also, I've always wanted it to be Cole who turns. I've always wanted that. We know from the beginning. I've wanted it to be Cole who turns.
I know this. I do.
Like, I've always wanted that. Before anybody else said it, I said Cole should be the one that turns.
I did
Because
also want I wanted Cole to turn on Max at, All In, because 'cause I'm like, "Just I want you to break his heart so bad. So bad."
imagine that in front of 70K. Shit.
80K.
80K, whatever. I don't care.
I just it's
You think
I
numbers
know it's
mean anything to me? I don't give a fuck.
I know it's semantics, but I'm like, it has to be in the I have to say it.
I like the number 7. So I like 70K.
I actually
I don't
hate the
like the
number
number
7.
8. I don't like the
I
number 8.
love 8. 8
I
is
don't.
it's so I irrationally love even numbers, and I love the number 5.
See, I like the number 4. I like the number 7 and 17 and 13. I don't know why. I also like the number 2.
2 is rad.
2, 4, 7, 13, 17.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of 7. I don't like 7.
Fair enough. Um, we know. It should have been Cole. It should have been Cole then. Then everybody had to ruin it because that's just, you should drag this out a little longer. All the journalists and all the people with big followings saying shit like, you need to hold off on this, you need to hold on to this moment. Well, then guess what? Guess what happened because you wanted to hold on to your moment so bad? Adam Cole broke his fucking ankle. That's what you get. Karma. Too much of a good thing. You gluttonous fucking freaks. Now look what you've done.
Now look what you've gone and done.
Yeah. Are you kidding me? It's their fault. That's just how I feel. This is gonna get me in trouble, I think. I don't care.
You'll be fine.
I don't care. Nobody watches our podcast anyway.
We get, like, 50 listeners a pod. It's a little more than
50.
that, but yeah.
Any ending thoughts?
Um,
Oh! One thing that I have to say. So somebody on Tumblr, a friend of mine that I sometimes chat with, they sent me a message right like 30 minutes before we started recording this podcast. And they said, I'm listening to your podcast again, and there's such soft speaking on there. It's like if Tumblr hijacked NPR. And I asked them to clarify, and they said, your co host has a mic and voice and recording quality straight out of NPR. And they said, my day jobs are audio engineering ones, so I'm sensitive to details like that when I listen to recordings of people talking. Tell your co-host her voice and recording is a breath of fresh air.
oh, thank you.
Yeah. I just had to add that in there because I thought you would enjoy that.
Hey. Yeah, I'm very glad that I finally, just shelled out the money and got the mic because it was rough beforehand. Um, and
Oh, yeah.
I have been told multiple times people love my speaking voice. Um, I've been I've had customer service jobs, I had a public speaking class in college, and then MJ from Waffly Bollocks, when we did our when I did the recap of the Golden Lovers history, she said I should voice audiobooks, and that was a very high compliment. So I suppose my voice is just quite good because other people say so.
Well, that's really nice. And I'm over
That
here
is very
seething.
nice.
I'm seething with jealousy right now. I've always wanted to do audiobooks.
Well,
It's
there's still
fine.
time.
I know. Look, you've told me before, you've had lots more practice than I have, which is fine. I mean, I'm only going to be 28 in December. I've got my whole life ahead of me. I'll be fine. I'll figure it out.
Well, I mean, you do have your whole life ahead of you. You've got, like, how long do people usually live? Like 80s? So you've got like 60 more years.
God, I hope so. Okay. Well, on that note, we hope you enjoyed this latest episode of Your Emotional Support Wrestling Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at ES Wrestling Pod, on Blue Sky at ES Wrestling Pod, on Tumblr at Emotional Support Wrestling, and please feel free to send us an email at eswrestlingpod@gmail.com. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.